And good Monday afternoon, everybody. Joe DiGregorio checking in with you guys. So things have changed up a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday. And for Wednesday, you see really the only severe risk now is centered in central southeastern Texas. Uh, and that shows just a marginal, low end marginal risk for isolated severe weather. But as we move forward into Thursday, New Year's Eve, you see that the severe risk uh, goes up for New Year's Eve as the evolution of this system uh, is a little bit slower than what we were thinking. And uh, what's going to wind up happening here is as the trough digs down, you're going to have the as the trough digs down, you're going to have the southern jet strengthening, and we're going to have a low, surface low develop out here in the northwest Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to eject northeastward. And as that does so, that's going to bring the higher risk of severe weather uh, parts of mainly Acadiana eastward. And Jeff Davis Parish is on the periphery of that. And so, although you don't see the marginal risk outline around this, I suspect it's going to be something like that. And everywhere in here will be under a marginal risk for isolated severe. Uh, the Storm Prediction Center only puts all of the risk areas on the days 1 through 3 outlooks. Days 4 through 8 only show the highest risk probabilities. So uh, we won't see the marginal risk uh, outline and any adjustments to the slight risk here in the yellow until tonight around 2 a.m. when they or shortly thereafter when they do their day 3 update, and the current day 3 will move to day 2 update. So again, uh, things could be kind of iffy uh, for New Year's Eve. Certainly going to be wet and nasty. Uh, Probably going to put a damper on any festivities, especially in the evening of New Year's Eve. And as such, there goes my bonfire once again. Thank you, Mother Nature, you witch. Actually, I was thinking of something else that rhymes with a witch, but have to be politically correct here to a certain extent. So, uh, we are likely to see somewhat of a squall line develop over here in this area, but it'll break apart, and what we'll wind up seeing is little clusters of thunderstorms develop uh, out ahead and along the front. And I've gotten some inbox messages on the page uh, regarding snowfall. Yes, areas over here in central Texas are going to see some snowfall and freezing mix, but that's where it's going to stay. As this low ejects, the warm sector is going to stay on this side, and the cooler air over here is going to lift straight up with it, and this low will take that moisture with it as it ejects off to the north and northeast. And therefore, the only thing that's going to come to us is the cold air. Sorry, folks, no snow. So this isn't the right setup. Now, if this surface low down here did more of a trajectory like this, and the moisture plume was just right as this cold air gets in here, um, and we had enough wraparound, then possibly. But this is not the right setup for it. So, uh, once again, no snow, no freezing mix, no sleet, nada. Not gonna happen this time around. We still got a few weeks of winter left. Not gonna put it out of the realm of possibility, but at this point, again, I don't see it happening with the pattern, uh, especially under La Nina. Um, Next year, as we're under El Nino, things will change. The patterns are gonna be different, and that would more favor potential for some um, white stuff accumulating on the grounds. So uh, I would say that there's a 1% chance or less of seeing any white stuff this winter. um, Now, could we see residual ice form on roads due to rainfall and the cold air rushing in behind it and freezing things? That's possible, especially black ice. Uh, but at this point, even that's a very low possibility. Uh, so uh, just get it out of your head. It's not going to happen. Now, we'll switch over here and uh, got to give a plug to the good folks over at Pivotal Weather. And what you're seeing is the Euro High Res, the latest run, which I was waiting for it, the 18 Zulu run to resolve completely before I did this video. And as you can see, um, you've got mid 60s dew points in here, and this is for New Year's Eve day, noon, New Year's Eve, and you see the mid 60s dew points. So that's good moisture return. That's plenty. And then we take a look at uh, we can look at the 850 or 500s, but let's look at the 850s. And you see, there's your low, and it's going to eject off to the northeast. Now, as far as severe weather goes, let's look at the bulk shear. And you see that the biggest, strongest here is going to be over Texas at this time. And that's not to say things couldn't pop off over here. There's still some high values. See it, got 57 knots in there. We're here over 100 knots. So, and then you see the trough, the nose of this thing digging down um, way into northern Mexico. And we'll advance this a little bit, and you can see the nose of this thing as that low starts to eject to the northeast. You see right along the nose of this trough in here, things start to move a little further east, and then as we get to midnight, you see these strong winds in here that uh, there's a lot of strong deep shear in here. So uh, I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility, but if we go back and look at precipitation type and rate, you see that most of this bad stuff is basically to the east of us already at that point. So it's basically a numbers game right now, and you can see 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve, some heavy stuff in the area, and we'll go back uh, and this would be noon. So you see that the surface low here uh, in Texas, uh, and then you see the snowfall and the freezing mix and sleet over here in west central Texas and northern northwestern Mexico there. But you see these little clusters that'll develop of thunderstorm activity, and that's generally going to be the rule. We're not going to see a squall line with this, um, not this time around. But as you know, anything that's spinning that comes out of the Gulf, you have that shear involved, and that spin in the atmosphere uh, has the potential to spin up some isolated tornadoes. And we'll go back. This would be 6 a.m. New Year's Eve, and you see the surface low developing down here around Corpus Christi, Matagorda Bay, somewhere in that area there, and then we'll punch it forward again, and we'll move forward, and you see its basic trajectory is north-northeast. It's not due northeast, but north-northeast, and then we'll move it forward again, and then you see it just basically hooks a left and basically goes straight north, uh, basically towards Dallas, on the east side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And with that, you see the dry air coming in on the back side of this thing underneath it, and uh, that dry air is going to be the buffer between the precip or frozen precip and us. So it's going to keep that snow and freezing precip in Texas. And then we'll go back another one. You see it kind of lingers here uh, as we get to midnight New Year's Eve, and it is deepening. We're down to 993 millibars now, and you still got a pressure gradient. Winds are going to be out of the west, northwest, uh, as winds come whipping around this surface low, and so with the temperatures dropping, that's going to make for a pretty chilly New Year's evening. Uh, Things should be drying out by then, but it's still going to be wet from the rain. So uh, that's flu weather, folks. And Baton Rouge, going to see some light rain. It's going to be cold, light rain, and breezy. So uh, plan accordingly. Probably a good night to just stay in and cook something in, uh, have some food delivered or whatever, and watch the festivities on TV for the most part. Unless you're really, really brave and you have no qualms about catching the flu or getting a really bad cold, well, handle your business. So we'll advance it again, and as we look at 6 a.m. New Year's morning, uh, the low is basically only moved a few hundred miles to the northeast and north-northeast, and along the Arkansas-Missouri border there. And as you can see with it, it's basically taken all the moisture up with it and kept the snowfall well to our northwest. As I said, sorry folks, no snow. And we'll advance it again, and you can see it's pretty much off the map here. I'm not going to go to the national map, but we'll move this forward here in time, and you can see on the second may get a few spotty showers in here. Um, we'll look at the temperatures here at that point. So most everybody's, and this would be noon on the second, and everybody's in the upper 40s. So any precip that falls is going to be cold and raw. And so let's pull this back again, and we'll advance this here because we'll look at our next front, which won't be coming in here as far as any rain until around the 5th or the 6th. And you see a little area low pressure developing here. And as that translates, it kind of washes off the board as it moves east. So uh, we get into the 6th here, and this would be noon on the 5th. And you see a little bit of a line starting to develop here, and we'll switch over to temperatures here, and you can see we're back in the 60s again. Uh, Temperature wise, dew points relatively low in the low 50s. You got some 40s dew points, so uh, not really enough moisture to work with. The bigger moisture is down here off the southeast Texas coast. So uh, we'll move right along here, and we'll bump it up. Now we're getting into the long range forecast, and again, things are going to change with this over time. Uh, don't really put a whole lot of stock in models this far out. You take it with a grain of salt, but uh, could see a few light showers out there here and there. But as our next system rolls in uh, towards the end of the first week, you can see here the line starting to develop, and that's as far out as we go. So at this point, we'll go back to this coming Thursday, New Year's Eve. Could we see some severe weather? I'm not going to rule it out, but I think the overall risk is low, despite the Storm Prediction Center, uh, their 15% probability. But again, things change on a dime with the weather. Still have to see how this whole system evolves and how that low actually tracks. Uh, Models, even the Euro, none of this is 100% set in stone. So the only thing that is set in stone is the fact that there will be no snow. Sorry, folks. So that's the only thing you can bank on at this point. Other than that, we're going to have to wait and see. It'll probably come down to the wire as to what's actually going to transpire as this low tracks up out of the Gulf uh, and into East Texas. We'll see how that's going to allow things to play out for us here in Louisiana. I think Southwest Louisiana, we may get some rather uh, strong thunderstorms at times, but any bigger threat of severe weather, which would be isolated in nature, probably going to be Acadiana eastward. So at this point, there's still some question marks uh, that have to be resolved, and we'll see what happens moving forward. And we may not have a better picture until this time tomorrow, possibly even Wednesday. So again, just have it in the back of your mind that things could get a bit rocky on New Year's Eve during the day and into the evening, and be prepared for it. Have an alternate plan in place uh, for inclement weather, regardless. Um, whether that's under the carport, cooking, or uh, going to the levee. I don't. I think fireworks are canceled in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. I don't know. Uh, I haven't seen anything posted. I don't really uh, see too much news nowadays. So Facebook has been severely, or Nazi book as I call it, been severely limiting a lot of posts that I see. So uh, I would plan on fireworks festivities, if any are planned, to be questionable at best. So, again, have a contingency plan in place if Uh, the weather is pretty inclement, and we have thunderstorm activity out there as we get into the evening and nighttime hours of New Year's Eve. So with that, um, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Appreciate everybody watching, and uh, if you enjoy what I do here, again, remember uh, your donations help keep me afloat with our weather subscriptions, and uh, so I can bring you the detailed information and graphics that I'm constantly putting out, and to give you that extra bit of information. So with that, I'll go ahead and close it, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.